We're supposedly live.
I don't know that my existence is valid until somebody tells me it is. Other than you, because you could be a figment of my imagination. How would I know? How would I actually know at this point? Exactly. Yep. I would not know. Hi, Silent Winged. Okay, good.
Hello.
I exist. Silent Winged said good morning.
Therefore I am. Or we are.
I need others to tell me. I've taken validation to extreme levels. Thank you very much. For anybody who arrives later and you're new, hi, I'm Kayla Lords.
And I'm John Brownstone.
This is Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. And this is the butt rub portion of our weekly live stream, of which, according to 85 clocks, we have 5 minutes. So if you are here later and don't want to watch this, fast forward. If you're here live, you're stuck with us till we decide to get started.
Yeah.
Hi, Darren. Hi, Alexandria.
Hello.
Hi, Jennifer. Yeah. I already know that I need this today, so I am very glad that we are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We got 5-6 minutes depending on the clock you look at. Hi, Eva.
Hello, Eva.
Do you have anything for butt rub that is not actually bonus section? We have to watch out for that sometimes. Anything that's pure butt rub related?
I love rubbing butts.
I know, I love it when you rub my butt.
I know.
It makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You don't do it enough. I'm just gonna
I do it when you're asleep. You don't even realize it.
You do not. You're too busy sleeping yourself. Hi, Troy. Hi, Pingo. Hi, Alyssa.
What do you think I do when I'm awake at night and can't sleep?
Considering I wake up too, I hear you trundle off to the bathroom. I hear you trundle back to bed. I hear you vape somewhere in between there. And then you start snoring and become a fucking heater right next to me. And then I'm hot.
And I become one with the bed once again.
Exactly. Hi, Paige. So, I know what you do, and it is not rub my butt. Hi, Liz.
Don't be so sure about that. But anyway.
Do you rub my butt sometimes in the middle of the night?
Yes.
I feel awful because all I do to you in the middle of the night is try and push you to give me my half of the bed back.
Yeah, I know.
Or yank the covers back because you have classic comedic thing. He'll roll over and the covers will whoosh right off of me. And I'm like, look, I was having a hot flash, but while the covers are on me, that section is mine. I would like to keep it. Thanks. Hi, Tigress.
Hi, Tigers. Hi, Troy.
So, hi, Ari.
Hello.
So, yeah. You're a cover thief.
Yes.
That's okay when I'm having a hot flash. That is not okay when I'm not having a hot flash.
But that's all part of my master plan to draw you closer to me.
No, because then I'm just annoyed. Also, the more deeply you're asleep, the bonier and pointier and more hurtful your knees are.
Oh, goodness.
Ask me how I know. You fell asleep in a little curled up position last night. It was so precious. And then every time I rolled, you were an immovable object. And I couldn't sleep, which was how I know these things. And your knees were so freaking knobby. I was like, I'm being stabbed to death by knees. Alyssa, the cover stealing thing is real. For real. Oh yeah, I get that, Silent Winged. I might shove some on JB most nights.
Yeah.
Take these damn covers. I'm too hot.
Meanwhile, feel like we're sleeping in an ice box.
We're not. It's not cold enough
to you
at all. Not at all. No, I saw a meme or something a week or so ago where the person said, where the thing said, more marriages would be saved if people would just get 2 covers for their bed. And I'm like,
his and hers covers.
Well, that's sort of gendered and heteronormative.
Well,
but
all right, yeah,
yes, covers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, actually, I think it was very proper. They said duvets, and then I was like, I feel like I would have to explain what a duvet is to somebody. But blankets, covers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Hi, Shelby. Hi, Tayshu. Oh gosh, on your phone. At least we're small on your phone. My makeup looks great on your phone, I'm sure. Let's see. What can we do before we actually get into things? Silent Wing, speaking of separate blankets, I would like a blanket that is warm enough when you're cold and immediately stops being warm enough when you become hot. That's the blanket I would like. We could share it then if it would just do that, if there would just be this magic blanket. Because the moment I throw it off me, because now I'm hot, well, not the moment, but like within 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my gosh, but this part of me is cold and this part of me is cold. Let me get those covers back. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fucking hot. I hate this. And then it's this back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, double blankets on a queen bed. Yeah. Nobody has enough room. I bet you are stealing covers from each other. I actually kind of think technically our blanket is a queen size and our bed is a queen size, but I think it's on the small side of queen sizes. I wonder what would happen if we had a king. Oh, I know what would happen. You would still roll with most of the blankets. You did it when we stayed in hotels with king size beds. Somehow I managed to be on the edge of the bed and have no covers.
I think I have a solution.
Okay.
The fixer and me.
Okay, fixer.
We have a queen size bed. Mm-hmm. We get a king size duvet.
That's what I just said.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
It's okay. We're not firing on all cylinders.
No, we're not.
Hi, Blip. Okay, so it is officially noon by the computer.
Yes.
I don't know what any other clock in the world says, but the computer says noon. YouTube goodness. Our shirts do not have links to them for anybody who likes them. We really should get some merch made with just our logo on it, but they were gifted to us ages ago. The back of mine says baby girl, the back of yours says daddy. We love these shirts, but there's no link, so sorry about that. If you like what you see here, I have questions, but if you do, we love a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe.
Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get updates when we upload new content.
Sure. I love you, Daddy. I love and support all of the things you say and do. Lightning's about to strike me.
Snarky little thing.
You are so right. I woke up in a mood. It has not gotten any better.
Yeah, no.
Let's see. And our topic today is just a BDSM Q&A because we needed something light and easy. We asked for questions over on Instagram. I really thought we would get like 3. I was wrong. So if we actually do these rapid fire like I want us to, and we feel like, oh, we would like to keep going and keep talking, we may ask for some questions from the live stream. If you ask a question and we don't answer it, it's not because we don't love you. It might even just be because we didn't see it, but also one of these days, maybe we should try and do a BDSM Q&A that we just go for as long as we can, but this is not that day. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's all I got for the YouTube only crowd. So then feel free to click some magic buttons.
Okay.
Okay, I also want to both apologize, especially to podcast listeners, and also wonder and marvel at potentially the sensitivity of our mic. My stomach is just talking to me. My stomach's not growling. I ate. It's just making noises. So if you're like, what the fuck is that noise in the background? For once, it's not JB's vape. It's probably my stomach. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I did have one thing. I'm checking my notes. I'm not trusting my memory this week. I did have one thing I wanted to talk about. It's not technically an announcement, but sure, I'm putting it in the announcement section.
Okay.
Our good friend and kink educator, Ignixia, has put out a new book that is available in paperback. As far as I could tell, there's no ebook version, called The Kinctionary.
Yes.
Now, I'm not giving you a review of it because we just ordered ours yesterday and we'll have it and we will do a review of it. But I wanted to let folks know about it in case you want to go check it out. It's available on Amazon. Kinctionary has, I think Ignixia says 400 kink terms in it, and then space for you to add more terms as you learn them so that the whole book can kind of grow with you. And so she was promoting the book on Twitter, and I was like, can you email me, send me the link? I want to go look at this. And I went and looked at it and went, we have to buy this book.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
wanted it. And once we get it in our hot little grabby hands, then we are going to do a review of it and tell you what we think of it. But for anybody who is curious about what terms mean, likes to learn more, I promise you, no matter how much you think you know about kink and BDSM, there's more to learn. I'm excited to see what terms are in here that I did not know,
Right.
or what terms are in there that I thought I knew the meaning of. And then I will see what Ignixia says about them, and I'll be like, oh, it means something. It's not what I thought it meant. Cool.
Yeah.
And also, I totally think there are going to be some videos inspired by whatever we find in this book. I feel it. I feel it. So yeah, the link for, if you're watching on YouTube, is in the description box. If you are listening on the podcast, that link is in the show notes. But if you go to Amazon and just search Kinktionary, like instead of dictionary, Kinktionary, it'll pop up. So I did want to kind of like point people to that so you could go take a look for yourself and see if it's something that you might be interested in. So we are doing a Q&A this week. In prepping the little notes I use for the intro that I don't know how to say this without feeling like a weirdo, but hi podcast listeners, do you know I read the intro every single week? 235 episodes, and I'm like, but what if I forget a word? So when I was putting the intro together for this week, I realized that just 10 episodes ago we did a Q&A, which to me feels really close, but in the reality that time means nothing, that was a July episode, and we're at mid to late September at this point.
Yes.
So I don't know, time has no meaning. We gave ourselves the break for a reason that we will talk about in the bonus section, but I'm not bringing this whole podcast down, or live stream down at the beginning to talk about that. We are actively leaning into the fact that being with our community is therapeutic for us.
Yes.
So what I did, again, to make it easy on myself, is I put up a thing in Instagram stories asking for BDSM questions, and no lie, I thought, we'll get like 3 or 4. No, there's like way more than than that.
Lots of questions.
There are actually some we're going to combine, because essentially it was the same question asked in a few different ways. I'm not going to say anybody's name, so your anonymity is protected. And if you ever needed a reason to follow us at the Instagram handle we hate, there you go. And normally we do, when we ask for questions, I'm all over the place trying to catch everybody, but I just couldn't this week. So we are, I think, going to dive right in. I did tell the live stream audience, for podcast listeners who would not have heard this part, that depending on how long it takes us, because we're going to try rapid fire.
Yeah.
We're not great at it, but we're going to try it. We might take questions at the end from the live stream chat as well. So, okay, I feel like there's supposed to be a drum roll, or there's like supposed to be a thing before I get started, but there's not. So I guess I just gotta get. You know what? I'm gonna start with a sip of coffee.
There you go. That's always a good way to start.
You will hear my cup of coffee more, y'all, in the microphone, because I'm not drinking from my regular cup. I'm using the sippy cup lid from Starbucks, and it makes me happy. Okay. First question. What are some rules around your collar? This person's partner just got them one, and they're looking for some rule ideas. We don't have rules. We do have sort of rituals.
We have a new ritual,
and it is brand new.
Started. Yes, very brand new within the last couple weeks.
I would like to point out that the collar I'm wearing came from Elegantly Owned. They are on Etsy. Elegantly Owned, all one word. Beautiful, love it. So happy with it.
And I kind of like this new ritual. I think it kind of connects us a little bit more, both in the morning and the evening, because what we have started doing is at night before we go to bed, I remove her collar, and then in the morning when she gets up, wherever I'm at, if I'm in the office, if I'm in the shop, she comes out with it, and I put it on and lock it back on.
And the reason it comes off at all, because up until this particular collar, because I'd gone for a while without wearing anything,
Right.
Is because lately almost anything I put around my neck, if I'm sleeping at night it will, of course, it will fall and it will lay on my neck, and that is a huge trigger for my anxiety. I can easily get a panic attack with hyperventilation if I feel like I can't breathe. So this newest collar is much lighter than a similar style purchased from a different company that I loved. I loved the color. I loved this. I picked the freaking style. But even this was just a little, it wasn't enough to trigger my anxiety. It was enough that I woke up to move the collar.
But you
so I
were
was
aware
losing
of it.
sleep.
Yeah.
So we created this new rule because this is a locking one. In the past, we've never officially done a collaring ceremony. I wear collars. I've not been collared. So we have not created a lot of rules around it.
No.
In the past, when you gave me necklaces before we lived together, I basically wore those as often as possible. If I had to take it off for a doctor's appointment, I would. But that was not because you dictated it. It's just because that's what I wanted to do.
Well, at one point when we first met, I had given you a bracelet.
It's true. You gave me a bracelet. You gave me a necklace. You gave me lots of jewelry. I don't know why I fell in love. It's shocking. But we've never actually set ground rules. The things we're doing now are a point of connection. Definitely put us in that headspace for those few seconds of our day.
Yeah.
But it's about my comfort more than it's about protocols.
Yeah.
We don't really worry about those or follow those. If when I went for a while without wearing a collar around my neck, that was very strange to both of us. It made us feel weird.
Yes.
So we were happy to have an alternative come in the mail from the amazing Tayshu. Thank you, Tayshu.
Yes, thank you.
I feel normal again. And I've already gotten multiple compliments on it. But we don't, for us, we keep it still, it's casual, even though it's meaningful, if that makes sense. And I talked so much that my phone went black. Okay. So this next question is a more general question where we talk about rituals and protocols. We're not going to give a satisfying answer, but we will answer it, which is, what are the rituals and protocols for DS? And the simple but unsatisfying answer is whatever the hell you want them to be. That's the truth. There are things that tend to be common among some people, but even that, there's no universal. So for some people, it's about using honorifics. When you're addressing each other, I know that there are some dominants who just when they're dealing with their sub, their actual submissive that they've negotiated a power exchange with, they want to be addressed in a certain way, or they want their submissive to wear certain things or to be in certain physical postures and positions. Kneeling is common, but it is certainly not the only one. For us, our rituals and protocols tend to be about you setting rules and tasks that you want me to do and me completing them.
Correct.
So that it's we've never talked about this purposely, so you tell me if you see it differently, but the way I see it, part of it is you exerting a certain level of control without having to micromanage me, which both of us, that's our style.
Right.
So I know what the expectations are, and then I go get that shit done.
Yes.
But also they are geared towards my service submission
Towards your service side.
Most of the time.
Right.
We have one ritual that is at the end of the day when we're getting ready for bed. I'm naked as hell and I'm bent over the bed and my ass is going to get both spanked and rubbed, and I'm very happy about that. And that is a power thing, and it is slightly sexual for us. Because spanking my butt is a turn on if I consent to it. Thank you. I feel like I have to add that, if I consent to it. Like, no rando can just come up and smack my ass. I will knock you the fuck out. But I'm in a weird headspace today. Just forgive me.
Yeah.
But it is when you create rituals and protocols, it's about what is meaningful to you as an individual and as a couple. It's about what taps into your dominant or submissive self. Like for me, service submission is a huge thing. That being said, I don't want to be told what to do every moment of every day. I am that person who's like, give me the list, I'll just go do it.
Right. While you don't like being told what to do every minute, and believe me, I appreciate that, because while there are people geared that way, I am not. You are a person that likes routine.
Mm-hmm.
So most of your tasks that I have given you are based on a routine. Getting my coffee set up at night for my first cup of coffee, making my iced coffee so it's ready for me in the morning, bending over the bed, right?
Sorry, podcast listeners, I made a little happy face.
Yes, she did. Along with making the bed and unmaking the bed. Mm-hmm. Okay, preparing the bed for us to go to bed, putting my pillows the way I like them.
Oh, a very specific way. If I don't get them right, I will hear about it.
Oh, yes, she does.
I don't get to rush through that process.
No. So yeah, your things. One, they are geared to your service submissive side and your love of and need of routine.
Right, and being able to plan. So the routine, like I know what I need to do, and then it is my job to get it done without every movement being dictated, and that becomes part of those become my rituals. Those are the things I'm doing every day, but many of them are mundane. Many of them are mundane.
Right.
Okay, so here is the next question.
Okay.
How do you handle scenes that end abruptly or unexpectedly due to issues or miscommunication? And this person actually sent a DM to give a little bit deeper insight into what happened, but essentially things were, one, not planned out, two, there were things that were not communicated, scene ends badly.
Yeah.
What do you do next?
Well, we have had a few of those.
Yes, we have.
Over the course of time. Now I will say this, some people do like spontaneity in a scene.
Sure.
You do not.
No, give me an idea.
So you always are one that kind of likes when I lay things out and you have a general idea of the direction we're going.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you do, because you have the freedom and we've been together long enough, you'll sometimes pull out a paddle at the last minute and I'm like, what are you going to do with that? Like I don't know. I mean, let's be real. I know, but I'm still like, wait, I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm. Now, things go badly in a scene. Oh, yes, it happens. It happens. Depending on the reason for that, a number of different things could happen. If you safe word for some reason, okay, everything comes to a stop. Mm-hmm. And at that point, we talk about what's
wrong in the moment.
What's wrong in the moment. And in some cases, able to pick up and carry on, and in others, not. Now, we did have one time where you had a panic attack.
You remember these things better than I do.
And you were nowhere near in a headspace to talk about it at that moment. Mm-hmm. And I went into full-on aftercare mode with you. Everything got stopped, put to the side, put out of sight. Went into aftercare mode, got you calmed down. And we, because of the nature of what happened with you, we both agreed that we would discuss it the next day.
Yes, and I think that's, in general, good advice. As soon as you are capable, even if it's not in that moment, and that night it might not, or that moment it might not be, the first time you have a chance after, when there's maybe been a good night's sleep or a few hours break or something, that is sometimes the best time to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, if it's about miscommunication or if it's a perceived problem, maybe it's an actual problem and not a perceived one, sometimes you're going to have to slow down. Sometimes you're going to have to take a couple steps back from what you've been doing and build back up to that point. Sometimes it's going to have to be something that you're going to have to avoid. Like when we figure out things that give me a panic attack, we
ain't going there.
We're not doing that again. Unless I sort of come to you and go, I would like to try that. I think I can handle it. Or I think I can handle it if we do it this way. In the case of this person's particular question with a bit of backstory, there was like some oopsies on the part of the top dom. There's gonna have to probably be an apology, a reckoning of, yeah, I could have done that better. Here's what I will do better. Here's, here, I'm sorry. And then a conversation between the two of you to sort of workshop that thing and work through what went wrong, why did it go wrong, to the best of your ability. Do it without blame, or if you're the one who fucked up, falling on your damn sword, like, just talk it through as objectively as possible, which is sometimes difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult sometimes. But looking at the facts of the situation and what could have been different and what should be different in the future. Sometimes what should be different is you don't do that anymore. I mean, that's sometimes the answer. But it comes back to communication. Once both parties are safe and you're okay and you're taken care of and you're not hurt, you're not injured, you might have to go through drop, both of you, before you can really have that good conversation about what you need to do. We used to use a term for it, and I know this is not the term we use, but it's basically like a post-mortem. Like, it's over, now we're going to talk about it and work through it.
A debriefing.
Debriefing, that was what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next question. Is it possible to meet people not online? In a pandemic, it's certainly harder.
Yes,
It has always been possible. The difference is, and this is where a lot of people struggle, because online does feel a little bit easier. You get a little bit of distance, you get a little bit of anonymity, you get a little bit of comfort and security. To meet kinksters offline that might be either a play partner or a long-term partner or just a friend, you are more likely than not going to have to go out into your local community, find your local community, and then in the safest, most socially distanced way, go among the people. And that is difficult for people. And that's where most people get stuck. They're like, wait, I have to actually go out and go to a kink thing, even though it's not going to be labeled a kink thing to the vanillas, and show up with my face and go, hi, I'm a kink person too, and I'm here to be with the kink people. And that can really fuck people up. It's hard for them. It's very hard for them.
The one thing I will say, there are, obviously munches. A number of communities have different things, coffee socials that they meet, and I know I know for a fact one munch that I used to attend. If you were new to munches, when they posted the event, they would say, if you are new and are nervous, reach out to the facilitator. And they will make a point of meeting you at the door. Right. And
being that friendly face.
And being that friendly face. So, there are a number of ways. There's munches, there's different socials that, are offered, workshops at various dungeons, Woodshed,
in Orlando.
In Orlando, prior to COVID, in addition to the munch, it will be followed up by workshops, different various workshops. Right now, yes, that has moved online, but and those are safe spaces too.
And that's the thing, the idea of meeting somebody offline, going out into the real world to the best of our abilities in the time of a pandemic, are not all about sex and kink. Most of those things are going to be very vanilla kind of settings. That coffee social, even in places where it might be a dungeon or it might be a meeting space that is reserved specifically for this group. There was one group that does a game night. Yeah. Like, they're just playing board games or whatever other games there are to play. And people are coming in and gathering for that. So I know the follow-up question is always, well, where do I find these people? Your best, and also at the same time worst place to go, is FetLife. It just is. Now, there is a site called findamunch.com.
Yeah.
Most of what it pulls from is FetLife, but not
Correct.
all. So it is not. It does offer
Yeah.
resources from places other than
Yeah, the highest percentage it pulls from is
FetLife.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about FetLife is you can search your immediate city. Like let's say you live in a major metro area, you can search by your county. You can search by the region, the name of your region. I used to live in the Panhandle. It was called the Emerald Coast. You better believe I could. I don't need to, so I'm not going to. But I could have gone into FetLife and typed in Emerald Coast, Florida, and people would have named things I would have been pointed in the right region.
Right.
So that is the place to sometimes start. You might have to look around to find the group that feels right for you. You also need to go in with the mindset that you're there to meet people who might become your friend, not, hey, this is like the singles club, unless that's the point of the event, if they're inviting a lot of people who might be looking or whatever. Always go in thinking, I just want to see if somebody's nice enough that I want to be friends with them. You don't know what that'll turn into, but if you go in with that whole, I'm here to meet my next perfect dom or sub,
Now,
it gets a little...
some areas, they for munches and like coffee socials, those are just specifically for people to get together. Some communities do tend to discourage people looking for partners and
because it's creepy. It's
at
predatory
spaces like that.
sometimes.
But at the same time, some of the larger communities do often host singles night.
Sure, because we all know if
Yeah.
you're single, you're probably looking to mingle. Did I just show my age by using that expression? I did. It's okay. Okay, so FetLife has its problems, but that's one of the best things about it.
It's a social media site like any other. It's got its upside and it has its downsides.
Yep. Okay, next question. How do we, you and I, have sex or engage in sexual activities even though Kayla's libido has died? So we've kind of talked about this before, but probably not recently, and part of it is one, we don't have sex near as often as we used to. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. Two, we worked into our relationship from the very beginning that I'm going to put air quotes around this whole expression because there's caveats here.
Right.
I am always, quote, sexually available for John Brownstone whenever he gets the urge. The caveats are, if I'm really not feeling it, like I don't consent, I can withdraw that consent at any point. Yeah. If I'm sick, my head hurts,
if you're not
coming
well,
at me anyway.
No.
And it's funny because for a while that reasoning has been on the table, but because we're routine oriented people, we fell into a routine of I knew I was most likely going to be woken up on either a Saturday or Sunday morning for an early morning quickie. Like, I knew that. Recently, though, you took full advantage of that. We are laying in bed. He is reading a box set romance fantasy novel thing that I was like, you gotta read this box set. It's so good. The Oracle Chronicles by Moni Boyce is really good. Anyway, he got to a sex scene. I'm watching a YouTube video about dogs, y'all. Like, I'm just over here on the corner of the bed minding my business.
Yeah.
I knew, I'm like Pavlov's dog, y'all. I knew because you opened the nightstand and I heard you pull out the Butters lube. And I went, it is not Saturday or Sunday morning. It's like Wednesday night.
And the first thing you said to me was, do you need a private moment?
Right, I thought you were going to masturbate.
And I was like, no, I do not. And I grabbed you and pulled you over to...
There was no conversation. Now,
No.
Could I have withdrawn my consent at any point? Yes, of course I could have. Was there a part of me, because the arousal in my body is like, it's bad. Part of me was like, that video is really good. I was kind of in the middle of that video.
I've learned to deal with your analytical mind
I know.
years ago.
I can make to-do lists while having the hottest sex of my life. It's just awful. And so... that was a time when we had the sex.
Yeah.
I was okay with it, but you absolutely leaned into that pre-agreed upon thing of our DS. So that's how we handle it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. In a poly relationship, when does a dom or sub become your dom or sub? When you both mutually agree that's what you want to do. Is it more, sometimes, does it feel like it's more complicated in a poly situation? Yeah, because you're navigating a lot of different relationships, a lot of different expectations, a lot of different communication, but it's still that decision and how you even define what, quote, your dom or sub means to you. That is still a personal decision between the two people involved. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to maybe take into account other relationships depending on, are they also in a power exchange with somebody else? Okay, so what does the mutual definition of your dom or sub mean for you, and how does that then impact any other relationships? But when you both want that,
You both agree to it.
and only when both of you want it.
Right.
You can want it with your whole heart, and if the other partner is like, then it is what it is. Okay, next question. I wish I could say yes to this question. Can we get stickers with your logo? Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Actually, technically, we have a Redbubble shop that I have not updated in probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
There might be a logo sticker there, but I don't.
I believe so.
Yeah. I really would like to update, redo, blah de blah our merch. We are you and I have been talking about some merch things through Patreon for patrons. We did a little bit of that for the 2020 membership drive.
Yes.
But for people who are like, yeah, that's great, I don't want to be part of your fucking Patreon. No shade, it's fine. I totally get it. I am like, I would like to expand our merch store to something, and we just haven't gotten there. So, next question. What would it look like to have 2 DOMs? Is that even possible? So, technically, yes, it's possible.
Yes, it is.
I have thoughts. Do you have thoughts?
Yes, I do.
Go for it.
It's absolutely possible to have 2 DOMs. I think one of the things you have to keep in mind, especially as the submissive, you need to decide, is your primary, there has to be a lot of communication.
Oh, yeah, it's so complicated.
Between everybody. Because if your rules and commands through your primary differ from your secondary.
If you're even going to do a primary secondary.
Yeah, if you're even going to, I'm using that as an example, but if they conflict with,
if one conflicts with the other, you're automatically fucked.
Right. So, there is so much communication that has to go on. You obviously have to have boundaries set. I mean, it could be a matter of you're with one dominant and you both enjoy impact play, but they don't like to do rope, and you want to do rope, so you may go out and find yourself a rope top. So there's really no conflict there, but
I've even seen people talking about the relationships. In one relationship, they have, of course, the conversations I tend to see are from submissives. So in one relationship, they have a caregiver as their dom, and that person has certain expectations, rules, and they get to fulfill that part of their role. And then in another relationship, they're a submissive in a different way, in a different style, and so then it's a different kind of power exchange. I think you're absolutely right. Boundaries are key to all of that. Open, clear communication. If the 2 dominants can then, the 3 of y'all sit down and come to some kind of agreement that everybody can live with, and I don't even mean specific to the rules, but to how things will get handled, that certainly can make your life a little bit easier. Or minimum, if both dominants can just respect the fact that the other one is going to have different expectations, different desires, different needs, and want you to do different things, that's going to be important. And if both dominants cannot do that, it's not necessarily because there's some jealousy issues, which there could be, it could be sometimes we pick a good one and then we pick a not so good one. And so that's something to navigate. You know, what if one of your partners is worried about you because they worry about this partner that you're with, or there's something they don't understand? So much communication.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not impossible at all. Just one of those things that it's probably not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. And if you do manage to make it work, it's going to be unique to that situation most likely. And then with different people, it's going to be something completely different in order to try and make it work. So yeah. I think that's the key to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Is submissive training a real thing? I'm going to give the unsatisfying answer first. Okay. And then we'll talk about it.
Repeat that.
Is submissive training a real thing?
Okay.
I'm going to give the unsatisfying answer first.
I have thoughts about that.
I know you
too.
do. It is a real thing if you want it to be a real thing.
Yeah.
It's not required. It's a thing that a lot of people talk about, and it's not even always formal, but sometimes it can be.
True.
You have thoughts, Scott?
Yeah, I used to see people who would say, "I will train your slave for you."
Yeah, I'm not impressed with
I'm
that.
a slave trainer. That never really impressed me, and here's why. You meet a submissive, you meet a slave, and you want them to serve you. The only way you're going to have them serve you in the way you like is if you train them to serve you.
In the way you
in the way
like.
you want.
Right.
All right? You know, just like in any relationship, be it vanilla or kink, you have to learn each other. Mm-hmm. You know, getting into a kink relationship, to a certain extent, your main kinks have to align.
At least the big ones, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, you're kind of learning each other. Mm-hmm. Your style of service, my style of what I want and expect. You know, nobody out there is going to do that for me unless I'm lazy and I don't want to be bothered. But
right, and then you don't get to be my dominant.
And then yeah, right.
You're lazy and don't want to be bothered.
Exactly. If you're that lazy that you don't want to take the time to get to know somebody, then you shouldn't be wearing the title.
Right, and you know the idea that I can train your submissive partner for you is based on a really kind of, to me, yucky assumption that all submissives need to know the same things, do the same things, have the same attitudes, and that can just be trained in a generic way. Training, I think it's one of those things where training, like anything else, that label can have a lot of different meanings. So it can be really formalized. I know a lot of owner-slave dynamics where it is highly formal, even just high protocol power exchanges.
Right.
It can be that way. And at the other end of that, it's probably more like how you and I know how I think about it and how you and I interact with it. Mm-hmm. All you're doing is teaching me what you like and what your expectations are. I learn that and I try to fulfill that to the best of my abilities. And if you want something or you have an expectation that I cannot fulfill, maybe there's a physical reason, a mental reason, an emotional reason, maybe I just don't fucking consent to it. We work around that and we create something else entirely so that you still get what you want within the confines of what I can give and am willing to give. And you show me how you would like that done while still being flexible enough to understand that there's more than one way to get things done. Yeah. And so submissive training is a catch-all phrase that most people on the outside looking in, and a lot of those air quote doms and masters, think is some regimented routine thing that everybody goes through the same training, and that's not at all the case.
Because everybody's different.
And some people would never even classify what they do as training. What they do is they learn each other in their relationship and figure out from the ground up what they both want to do. And I could use semantics to go, well, that's kind of a form of training. You're teaching each other, blah, blah, blah. But it's not that stereotype training that a lot of us think of when we hear that term, which is why some people really reject it too. They're like, submissive training.
It's not like it's going to the submissive school.
Right. No. No.
You're not studying submission 101.
And here's the thing. As a submissive, you can learn all the skills in the world that are stereotypes of what submissives can and will and might and should and whatever do. And then you're going to go find a partner who's like, you could do that, but could you not do it that way? Or here's another way. So it, for people, and I'm not saying that the person who asked this question does, I'm thinking in general when I see the conversations online among people who talk good game and have nothing to back it up with. It's sort of a reductive thing to act like submissive training is one thing when it is just learning each other,
right.
And figuring out how if you are the submissive, how you will be a submissive for this partner, and then realizing that if you have another partner in the future, you will be another kind of submissive with them, even if all of your main desires as a submissive don't change. Your interaction with the next person will. So any quote training you receive is only geared toward learning one person, and you will learn new lessons with a new person.
Because the submissive I was with prior to Kayla was totally different. That was a high protocol type relationship. And then with her, it shifted into something totally opposite.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to put the question out there, and then I'm going to point you back to other content we've already created. This was tips on how to make a long-distance DS dynamic work, especially in time of Corona. So we did a video right as the pandemic was finally being announced in a big way, where people were paying attention about how to deal with your DS in the time of Corona. And we did talk about in that how a lot of people were going to become a long-distance relationship when that had never been their thing, just because now you were having to stay away from one another. We also have multiple videos on long distance, and mostly podcasts actually.
Yeah.
But I will try to link to them in the show notes and later in the video description box. Our last video on YouTube, the very most recent one, was how we planned our transition from long distance to in person. So we do tend to talk about it. The big thing, the biggest tip, and it is the most boring tip, it's the least satisfying. I only give unsatisfying answers here, is communication. And figuring out what you did in person that you can take virtual. So, you did sexy fun times together. Can you do any of them over Skype or Zoom or whatever? Can you do any of them through phone sex? Can you... we leaned heavily in our long distance relationship on guided masturbation. I was the one doing the work, and you were telling me faster, slower, in, out, use that, do that, whatever.
And there's any number, on that aspect, there's a good number of toys now that are, app driven.
Yes.
So you can be anywhere in the world and control those apps.
I'm not going to lie, those toys tend to be expensive.
True.
They really do.
Yeah.
But one that I have to finish my review for, and there will be a video about in the future, is called the WeVibe course. It's technically a couples toy that you play with together, but WeVibe is known for its app called WeConnect. Yeah. Mystery Vibe is another one. It has an app that offers a lot more functionality. So that those are options, but it's just about... A lot of people think that long distance is fundamentally like nothing like in-person relationships. And obviously on certain levels, there are those similarities.
Right.
But it is, we figured out how to work from home and how to school from home. Not well. It's not as good as the real thing. I know. You absolutely can power exchange and sex virtually. It's just about rethinking how you do those things. For us, it was a lot of text messaging. So much text messaging. Okay. So we're finally getting into the first of multiple questions that were asked in vastly different ways, and we kind of answered it with the can you meet people? No, yes, no.
Kind of, sort of, maybe?
We kind of answered it already in the can you meet people but not online, and this is the several questions of how do you find a partner? Some people asked a genuine partner. Some people asked, a safe person. Some people asked, an actual kinky person, not somebody pretending. I say this every time we talk about this, I'm going to keep saying it. One, wherever people are, there are kinky people, and I'm thinking in online spaces primarily. Twitter has kink community, Instagram has kinky people, Pinterest has kinky people, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah,
Facebook has like a ton of secret groups. FetLife is still, for all its problems, and there are problems, FetLife is still probably the biggest, quickest resource, but there's The Cage. What's that one that came back that's modeled after Facebook, but it's for kinky people?
Kink Space.
Kink Space. It is about, in all of those spaces, wannabes, assholes, posers, and dangerous people will try to approach you on both sides of the slash. People who might not be dangerous, but don't read bios and don't follow boundaries. Those people will exist.
Here's a common scenario. You join FET, you find a local munch or a workshop in your area, and you RSVP. Next thing you know, you get the messages in your inbox. Oh, I see you're going to so-and-so. How about we meet up here or there? And, no, you want to meet me, I'll be at that munch.
Right. Look forward to having a burger with you or whatever,
And 99.9% of the time, those unsolicited messages, when you go to those things, those people will not show up. But those are not the type of people you want to show up either.
If you've got some rando sliding into your DMs to go, hey, and they aren't saying anything other than either potentially creepy stuff or, I see you're going to this thing even though you don't know who I am. Don't I sound like a stalker right away? Right. I can even understand some people being flattered by that. Please don't be flattered by that. Yeah. Be fucking creeped out by it.
I mean, I've had that happen to me where, I'm going to be at the woodshed on this particular night. And I'd get a message, I would love to play. I would love to, get my ass beaten. Well, okay, I'm going to be at the shed. No, I don't play in public.
Well, then you don't play with me. You're a stranger.
I'm very sorry. Then
have a good time finding somebody else.
Yeah, where I'm willing to meet at the munch at the shed, and we can talk and negotiate.
And some people have different standards in that. That's
true.
Fine. Okay, that's fine. Those are not our standards. But you can do whatever the hell you want to do.
Right.
But here's the thing, talking about this person, the first question that came up was a genuine connection, and that is what a lot of people ask. I don't care where you meet people. You can meet them at a munch. You can meet them online. You can meet them in a kinky dating app. You can. Yeah. The biggest, again, somebody's going to disagree with me, and that's okay. You get to disagree with me. I would like to ask that we stop trying to meet people unless it's specific for a scene or play. You're like, I'm just out to get my ass beat. I don't care about anything else. For those of you who want those genuine connections, I would almost beg of you to stop going out to meet people looking for the love of your life. I would rather you go out to meet people to maybe make a kink friend, to maybe expand your kink community, just to get to know people. You can have in the back of your mind that, maybe this will turn into something. But when we go out, like on the fucking hunt for a partner, that is when I have noticed, from observation primarily, but also through some experience, that those who smell blood in the fucking water slide on in, and we're like, oh, look at them being nice to us. Oh, they're saying some really nice things. Oh, well, technically that's like 85 red flags, but they made me feel nice, so I'm just going to ignore all those. And then you're back to, how do I find a genuine connection? Yeah. Go out and be who you are. That means to the extent in which you are comfortable. Talk about what you like. Talk about what you don't like. Say, this is the kind of person I am, this is what I'm that I'm looking for, or I'm not looking right now. I'm just here to have a good time and get to know people. And don't try and bend and twist yourself to fit somebody else's expectations. What the person you want is the person who's going to look at you in all of your wackiness and go, your weirdness fits mine. Hey, let's go have some fun. And that might be in a friendship way. That might be in just a play partner way. That might be in a romantic, long-term, whatever way. But that's the thing. I almost feel like if less of us went out in that I'm on the hunt mentality, I'm putting myself out there to make a great love connection or a great lust connection or a great whatever connection, and we just went out there with the, let me see if I can get to know some people because I don't know where this will take me. Right. One, I think some of us, our bullshit meter works better because then we're not feeling desperate or feeling lonely or feeling like we're never going to find anybody and we'll take the first one that looks cross-eyed at us. And two, a lot of those people can't handle that. You might not feel it, but you will appear confident when you kind of go out through the world like that. They can't handle that kind of fucking confidence because they know they can't stand up to it. And then sometimes they avoid you.
And what's nice about expanding your circle of kink friends, when you do meet somebody, it's easier to vet them.
Yep. Agreed. Okay. So that was I don't know. Are we counting rants? I don't know how many rants I've had. Okay. Next question. How often do we scene per week? Can we narrow that down to per year?
Yeah.
Because I can count that on one hand. We do not scene every week. We are not on any consistent scene schedule. Our nightly bedtime quick spanking would not be classified. The way we do it now is not a scene.
Right.
Sometimes it's a scene because you go a little bit deeper, you go a little bit further. It's a 15-minute scene.
Right.
That's not what they've been.
We have had an interesting change in our lives in the last year and a half. A lot of that was brought about by our move to the rental house.
Right before we moved to where we live right now.
Before we moved where we are now, in the rental house, the bedrooms were right on top of each other for one thing. And there was no insulation in the walls.
You could
they were
whisper
paper
and hear each other.
Yeah. We very often in bed we have conversations, and we're not loud or anything. We're just normal voice conversations, and the boy would hear them.
So can you imagine listening to a flogger or a paddle?
So we had to cut down, and when we were at the rental, it was when the kids were off at school and we could break away from our respective work once in a while.
And then
and even that wasn't because, we had to.
And then there was a pandemic, y'all.
Exactly.
So let's just cut to the chase. We don't fucking scene that often, and we haven't for a while. And before we moved to the area we live in now, we tried to at least go once a month because our local dungeon did a morning thing. We could easily get away for that. We didn't have to worry about childcare. It was blah, 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 blah. We work for ourselves so we can control our own schedule.
We dropped the kids off to school and continued on to the dungeon those days.
So the quick answer, even though we could both wax rhapsodically about how we don't fucking scene, I don't know if you've noticed that we're both whining over here, is that we don't scene weekly. We barely get it in. We cherish it when we get it in.
Yeah.
Not scening does not take away from our relationship, but it does make us antsy because then there are things we'd like to do that we're not.
The scening is part of who we are, but the DS
it's the foundation.
It is the foundation of who we are to begin with.
So we can always fall back on our power exchange even when we can't scene.
Yeah.
Next question. Do we like consensual non-consent? I was thinking about this when I saw this question. So first of all, there's lots of definitions about consensual non-consent. We've gotten at least 1 or 2 requests to do like a 5 things video about things people should know about it. I'm still formulating my thoughts on what I could say about it. Like everything else, even that's on a spectrum. So I would say in ways we have kind of played on the lighter end of consensual non-consent. There have absolutely been times where I have, I'm put air quotes on this, fought back, knowing I could have at any point safe word, I could stop everything, but I let you get super duper rough and I basically fight back and resist. and it's hot. It's very hot. And then eventually I give in, and it's to be that overpowered kind of thing. That's not. That is probably the lightest end of what anybody might think of consensual non-consent. We do not play on the other side, on the edgier stuff that we don't. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that because people have fantasies and people have things that they don't have to justify why they like this. What I do think is that it requires a lot more caution and a shit ton more communication And there's gotta be an easy way to stop it all because you don't know what the fuck you're gonna trigger in a moment like that.
Exactly.
So it's why it's a form of edge play because real bad things can happen real fast.
Good answer.
Okay, this next question we have answered in the past, which is I'm going to see if we can do the Reader's Digest. Am I aging myself there too? Version. When and how did you both get into the lifestyle? I started a sex blog and went, oh wait, I think I'm kinky, and here we are.
Yeah.
What's your Reader's Digest version?
Kind of discovered I was kinky in my early 20s, suppressed it for many, many years because I thought I was weird. There was no online community. Was reintroduced to it many years later, and here I am.
Right. And still overcoming internalized shame from those years of suppression.
On some things, yeah.
You and I have, and I don't have that because of my path in.
Right.
And you do, and we still discuss it even now. Next question. Do we still experience dom and sub drop? I cannot. Have I in the past when we scened? Yes. Has it been a long time since I've had drop? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think I'm still capable of it? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure.
It can happen to anybody at any time. We have not been that deep into a scene to really get that far. Even when the most recent was when the first day the boys went back to school.
Oh, God, that was so, yeah.
Yeah.
There were tears and fear because pandemic, but also they were like, yes, I'm going to go get
Right.
naked now.
Exactly.
But, I know I'm capable of it.
Mm-hmm.
We are now at a point in our lives where when we get to get real deep into a scene, you're still not as deep as because at any moment you might have to turn on and go into mom mode or you might something.
Yeah.
So it's not. I have a better chance of going deep like that, and for me, if I'm gonna have drop, I will likely have hit even an outer layer of subspace, like even a mild subspace to hit drop. That's not required for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their own experience with it. And it's been at this point a couple of years since we've seen that deep.
Yes.
And that typically has to happen in a dungeon for us to see that deep.
Right. Those kind of
at home, I just can't. I'm at home, and so I'm like, there's somebody who probably needs one of us. So, okay. So I want to mention this one, but we cannot answer it because this is a whole topic by itself. Understanding what a dominant experiences when a sub brats. I think maybe I'm not sure that I'm qualified to talk about that much. I know you call me bratty. I think we probably could do a video on it.
I think so. I mean, you're not really, you're not on the brat spectrum per se.
No, and who I would tell you if you're wondering about more of the brat kind of thing, I would definitely check out Evie Lupine on YouTube. She's got several videos about bratting. Some are older, like from a few years ago, but yeah.
Right.
And it's also highly personalized to, in this case, wanting to know the dominant view. It's highly personal to the dominant and how they view bratting in general, good or bad. So,
it's not something I could really talk about because it's not really part of who we are.
No, and when I actually big B brat, it's on accident. Like that was me accidentally overstepping. I was going for sassy and miscalculated.
She blew right past that.
I wasn't trying to be a brat.
Yeah.
Next question. What are some of our favorite scene songs? Anything with a thumping beat.
Yep.
And that tends to be, we like classic hard rock. Some stereotypes, some I will say white people stereotypes. 9 Inch Nails. Yes, please. The White Stripes. Seven Nation Army. Oh my God, that comes on. And I like the thump. I'm here for it.
Linkin Park.
The song is Sail, and I can't think of the group.
Oh yes.
Almost anything by Godsmack. We have definitely done some AC/DC.
Oh yeah.
Some I think Pink Floyd. Have we done Pink Floyd?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of classic rock.
Bon Jovi too.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite. I am
had a good drum beat in the song though.
I'm anything with a deep thumping beat though,
Yes.
so I'm actually not.
Yeah.
I don't want it to have too slow of a pace, so I think I could handle all kinds of music, all kinds of genres. No offense to the country lovers out there, except for fucking country. I have listened to country. Country's fine. I don't want to fucking sing to country music. But I think I could handle almost any other genre if the music had a fairly fast-tempoed, deep, throbbing beat.
Thank you, Juniper. AWOL Nation.
AWOL Nation. Thank you. Yes. Love AWOL Nation. Okay. What are our favorite PG ways to show submission? Back in the day when we used to go to restaurants, if I would prepare your coffee, threw off plenty of servers because they would put the coffee down in front of him and I would pull it back.
She would pull it over, start putting in the cream and sugar and getting it just right. Yes.
When we get in the car, if you need your sunglasses, it's my job to get your sunglasses out.
Correct.
I am not allowed to open my car door to get out.
If we are anywhere together,
you have to do it.
You're not allowed to touch doors.
Yep. You open all the doors. Yeah.
And I mean, just simple things like at dinner time, you get my drink.
If I'm rarely serving meals up. That's actually what you usually do. But when I am,
I plate.
Well, yeah, but when I'm doing the whole thing,
yes,
right?
Yes.
I serve you first. Like our whole routine of how we deal with dinner is like so weird the way that it used to be. But like when we used to do big family meals when family was allowed to come over to our house, we'd do buffet style because there'd be like 8 or 9 of us.
But you would make my plate.
I would ask you what you wanted and I'd make sure you got it. So those are some things that we do. Favorite how-to beginners BDSM intro book. Why don't I have to pick just one?
Yeah.
So I do like, for just understanding terminology, I like The Ultimate Guide to Kink by Tristan, is it Taormino? I've never heard her last name said out loud. So yeah, that one. We both like The Loving Dominant. There is, I believe, an updated version. It's a little heteronormative. Guys are doms, girls are subs kind of thing, but the crux of the information I think is really good. And then even though it's not actually BDSM, it's completely about communication. I love Tongue Tied by Stella Harris. That's about communication in relationships, mostly sexual, but not completely. And there is a section on kink, but every bit of it is applicable to your BDSM relationship. Love that. So we have multiple favorites. Yes. Here we go. What one piece of advice would you have given your younger sub or dom self? I'm going to let you start.
Okay. I think for me, not to be ashamed of the things that I like and desire, and to embrace myself.
Spit my ice out, y'all. Sorry.
But because when I first began to find out these things that excited me and that I liked, because it was so abstract from the norm, I felt that there was something wrong with me. So yeah, if I had a chance to go back and tell myself, it'd be like, don't worry. There's nothing wrong with you. It's okay to like these things that you like. There are other people that do it, and embrace who you are.
I have a harder time because by the time I figured out that I was kinky, I was like, yes! I just liked understanding myself on another level. So I think part of it, though, was I was slower to embrace my baby girl side. Submission was easy. I was like, yes, this is who I am. Baby girl side was like, wait, what? Wait, huh? So I guess the thing I would have told myself back then is you are never the only person going through this. You are not the only whatever label you're using. And also that your submission is about growth and change. And so you will shift over time. Because I fully embraced the service submissive and sexual submissive thing, like right off the bat. Like that was just, made total sense. And then I resisted the baby girl side. And then for a long time, I felt a constant push and pull between those two sides.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't coexist together. And then I realized that they could coexist together. And, and then now, yes, I'm still sexually submissive, but I'm not as sexually active as I once was. So that's another part of me that's shifting and going through these ebbs and flows. And all those ebbs and flows are all normal. And I think that's what I would tell myself.
That brings up an interesting contrast. Do you think it is because at the time you discovered that, you already knew there was an entire online community and people who were into this type of lifestyle.
Yes and no, because see, knowing something's there is not the same as being willing to go out amongst it, and I was not. Like, you couldn't have paid me to go on Fat Life at that point, or to go to a munch, or to go be part. Like, yeah it was there, but I wasn't going to interact with it. So
I guess because I'm coming from a point when these things started to surface for me, there was no internet.
True.
Communities were very hard to find. I mean, we still had landlines.
True.
You know, and I'm talking corded phones at that point.
I know.
There were no,
and people found each other through the backs of magazines is how they did it. You know, very specific kinds of magazines. No, I mean, my unwillingness to join groups is pre-kink. So knowing it was out there, because I'm that person who can very easily convince myself that a community or a group is good for other people, but it's not right for me. I don't belong.
Well, okay, I understand that. Because I know who you are.
Yeah.
But not that you are going to rush out there and join the community.
No, I still think I'm different.
Okay.
Which is wrong. I'm not. Well, I am, but not so different that I don't belong. I, to this day, struggle with the idea of belonging to a community. So even, that's the thing, that's why I could tell myself now, that's why my thing to myself was, stop worrying so damn much. You're not alone. You're not the only one.
Gotcha.
This will change and shift, and the person that you think you are today, you will be a slightly different version 5 years from now. And those are, because I was very worried about what does it all mean if I'm this baby girl? What does it all mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. If money wasn't a concern, what piece of equipment/toy would you buy? I know exactly what my answer would be, and I wonder if your answer is similar.
Say that again.
If money wasn't a concern, what piece of equipment or toy would you buy?
Oh.
Right.
It would be one of two things.
I know what mine is.
Or maybe two things.
I know
It would
what
either
mine
be
is.
a spanking bench or a cross.
I would buy a cross. You buy a spanking bench. We're covered.
And we're covered.
I don't have to go anywhere. I never have to leave the house again. We're good. We're good. Let's see. This one kind of cracked me when I saw it come through. I just skipped questions that were all the how do you find community, some version of that. Start on Fat Life, get to know people, use the online resources first. There we go. Here's the question that had me cracking up there. What rule or task this must be geared towards me. What rule or task do you dislike the most and why? Also, which one do you like the most and why? So let's start with which one I like the most. Bending over the bed at night. I'm naked. Some nights y'all, for anybody who enjoys spanking, some of you might be like, hell yeah, let me bend over the bed every night and get a spanking. And yes, that is true. But there are nights where I'm like, I'm just so fucking tired. I don't want to do this. I just want to get in bed. But it still is one that we don't skip. You go to bed before me, I will still come my ass and drape over your lap and be like, hello, here's my ass for you.
Because you're right.
And it's both a rule and a task and a ritual, and it's all part of it. It's what I do to go to bed. If I don't do it, I can't even sleep well if I don't get into bed from your side, because that's where I bend over. I bend over on his side of the bed, spank, 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 and then I crawl into bed.
And she's told to
from
get
his
into bed,
side.
and she crawls in from there.
I don't sleep well if I don't do that.
Yeah.
Is there one I dislike the most?
I'm trying to think of the one that you kind of stomp your foot and pout.
There really isn't anymore. It's because, it's not a rule that is a clearly defined, when I say clearly defined, like always do this or always do that, like a task is. There is the rule that if you think I'm bratty, I might get corner time. I don't like that one.
That's
because
true.
Let me reiterate, if anything I ever do comes across as bratty, that was by accident. That was me not calculating correctly. Okay?
Yeah.
So I don't like that one, because you get to decide it was bratty when I'm over here going, but I didn't mean for it to be bratty. It wasn't bratty in my head. So yeah, that's probably the one I Like the least. Okay, so I believe, have talked about this in more detail in a video on impact play, but hopefully you can give a couple of quick tips that we've mentioned before, that we do punching as part of our impact play.
Yes.
Could you go into more details? I'm almost positive we have a video on impact play and we talked about punching, but yes, I like it. Here, I'll tell you why I like it, and then you can give some tips. I like it because it's deep and it's thuddy, and it absolutely, when done well, feels like a deep tissue massage. There's no sting at all. There's no equipment at all.
No.
It is only for me on my butt and my back, essentially.
Yes.
So, and sometimes the backs of my thighs. Okay, so if you want to get some tips.
One of the things you want to be very careful. I mean, when talk about punching, not just, out of the blue cold cocking, or not like that at all. It is very controlled. It is only in very specific places. One, never ever, like she was talking about the back, never ever on the spine.
Right.
Okay. Muscle tissue. That's, like I said, on the butt. Always not a knuckle.
No, I'll
punch.
Tell you if your knuckles hit.
Yeah, there are times I miscalculate, and I do come with a little too much knuckle, and
oops.
But mostly it's with the flat against the muscle, and it's not hard. It's more of just like to get a thud. And what's nice about that is a couple different ways that I do it with you. I can either come in like real quick and pull away,
like a jab kind of thing,
like a jab, or I can go in, and when I hit, I kind of push.
You lean
through.
into it for sure.
I lean into it, and it pushes the power.
You'll knock my breath out doing that. And I don't
Yes.
mean like I can't breathe, but like it knocks a bit of the wind out of me from the impact, not any pain, not any, the intensity almost.
Right.
And it's a cool feeling.
It is.
It's very relaxing to me. But yeah, when it's very much, I have to give constant feedback, because if his fist just twists just the smallest bit, and I get knuckles, that's not a good pain. I don't like that.
Yep.
I don't like that at all.
And Silent Wing brought up the fact that it's quieter than spanking, which it is.
It is. And it's so relaxing. For the record, it feels better when you're draped over a spanking event in the middle of a BDSM dungeon, but whatever. In the live stream chat, Shy Bean pointed out when we were talking about tasks and rules I hate, and I hate it so much, I've clearly blocked it out of my mind, and Shy Bean has reminded us. Folding sheets. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what's funny? If I'm comparing that to doing something that gets you put in corner time, I'll fold sheets all day long. But I did let some sheets sit until your last possible get it done by this time.
Yes, you did.
Waited till the deadline.
I noticed that, but they were done. I mean, it was like
they were done by the deadline.
They were done by the deadline, but it was like deadline was looming.
Yeah, it was. I work well under pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna double check after this one. It looks like we're on our last question.
Okay.
Are we still doing an open relationship? I have always been doing an open relationship in theory, because in practice means I have to talk to people. I know. Yes, the answer is
the
yes.
answer is yes. The short answer.
Are you at this point in theory too, or are you in practice? I keep accidentally cock blocking you. I'm sorry.
Well, there is that.
We'll explain that in a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Pandemic, COVID, kind of in a holding pattern.
Yeah.
There are folks I've been talking to. Hopefully when this is over, I get to meet some of the people I'm talking to, because I have been enjoying the conversations we've been having online and getting to know them. But, as of late, no. Only because we can't go anywhere.
Well, but
I mean, we can to a certain extent at this point, but
what I mean though is in my mind, the depth of conversation and connection you're creating, even if you can't meet anybody, you might not be formalizing those relationships, but you are certainly building connections.
Yes. Absolutely.
I don't. Partly because I need new glasses because I can't really see. Partly because I'm not a nosy person. Well, I am, but I respect boundaries. So what will happen is I'll be at my computer and I can turn my head and I can see his computer and he'll be in some chat function and it's a wall of text and that's what he's sending. And I'm like, oh, that must be a good conversation. And then I move on with my life because there's other things going on.
Yeah.
So you were definitely having conversations with people. I'm not doing that because you can barely slow me down long enough to get a 5-minute conversation. And I can't imagine the other person who would manage to do it. So yes, we are. We have been doing a Q&A for over an hour.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm a little afraid to open it up to live stream questions, not because I don't want to take your questions, but because we do have a bonus section that will have some stuff to it. So if you have like a burning question, you got like a minute or two to get it in live stream, folks. But maybe one of these days we'll do a live stream. We'll do a recording where
a Q&A, a live stream Q&A.
Oop! I just knocked the camera. Sorry, y'all. Where we don't worry about time, but we do have to
tie your feet back so you can't be kicking the camera.
Don't tie them back, but I'm sure you could do something creative. So yeah, I'm
honor bondage. Put your feet back and don't move them.
Well, I can't not move them. I'm too fidgety, but I will put my feet back. I was very proud of me. I had to write a little, I'm a freelance writer for anybody who doesn't know, freelance sex writer. So I write about sex, and I was writing about different types of bondage for a sex toy shop. And I legitimately got to include honor bondage is a thing. You don't have to buy equipment to do bondage. You can, whatever. I'm not seeing questions come through the live stream chat. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the Q&A part. I am now in a space because I know what our bonus section is gonna be. So we are gonna do a bonus section. Thank you everybody who asked your questions.
Yes, some great questions.
Thank you everybody for listening to us ramble with these. I don't know if we offered anything actionable or helpful, but it was fun. Yeah. Hopefully we helped some people. Hopefully a rant or two came through. I know there are people who enjoy the rants. So okay, we are gonna let me do this before we go into the bonus section. The bonus section part of it will be sad in relation to our dog Saki. If you are like, I do not have the mental energy for this, feel free to skip the bonus section of this week's episode. It's okay. You do not have to be here for this. I did not even want to talk about this at the top because I wanted to get through the good stuff and then give people an easy out. So that is, I guess, a content warning. But we will go into the bonus section now. Okay.
So are we good?
I have no idea.
Do the best we can.
It's all we can ever do.
All right.
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I talk to the crickets?
Yes, you can. You need to step away for a minute.
Do you want me to go ahead and start?
Yeah.
The thing?
Yeah.
I figured I would have to be the spokesperson. I feel like we're big in this up, and some people are going to be like, why does this even matter? And it's okay if it doesn't matter to you, I swear. Our emoji of the week is going to be the dog emoji. I think there's one that's just a little head and one that's a dog body. Pick one. We are doing that in honor of our dog, Saki. If you follow us on Instagram, you might have seen already. We did try and put something up in the YouTube community tab here on our channel. So we actually canceled last Friday's live stream hangout because we had to rush Saki to an emergency vet at about 7:30 at night. I am extremely grateful. We live in a place that has an ER vet that can be open all night and on the weekends. He was not doing well. He was not breathing well at all. And I knew from what I had read that was a sign of his congestive heart failure getting worse. And so it was terrifying. And so we rushed him to the emergency vet, where I love that little shit. He stopped breathing that badly and was breathing like a normal dog for them. And I was like, of course you are. After I pay nearly $600 for them to run a battery of tests and go, no, the only thing that's wrong with him is congestive heart failure. But he started doing fine, other than the fact that we were able to say, you know, he's not eating, and he hadn't eaten, and he's not himself. And so we walked out of there with some medication to help get his appetite back, and he was breathing just fine. And we came home, and we were like, okay, the live stream is we didn't get home till like 10:30. And I went on YouTube and I go, okay, we're home and we're going to follow up with our vet tomorrow, but he's home and he's breathing fine again and it's fine. And then by like midnight, he was not himself. He wouldn't eat. We had to force pills down his throat. It was not a fun time for anybody. We were worried, but we got him comfortable in his bed. We go to bed. We wake up the next morning. We wake up like early so he could call the vet when they opened, because they were only open on limited hours on Saturday. And they're like, yeah, bring him in. And I go to check on him, and he hasn't drunk water overnight, which is unusual for him. He certainly didn't want to eat. We couldn't get him to take his heart medication, which is paramount.
Right.
Not even with his treat. And then the most heartbreaking part of all is that the dog who hates being picked up let me pick him up.
Yeah.
And so on Saturday, to make an incredibly long story slightly less long, we said goodbye to Saki, the dog. Mm-hmm. And that sucked, because of course it does. Anybody who's ever loved an animal knows that sucks. We have very much a Saki size hole in our house, in our family right now. Because we had just built part of our routine in life around Saki's needs, his meds, his need to go outside. I have barely been outside since Saturday, and actually before Saturday. And so it really sucks. We are very low energy this week. We definitely needed this week's podcast. That's why we did it in a Q&A form, because I was like, I cannot use the brain power to come up with a topic and then try and carry that topic for 45 minutes to an hour. And for those of you who follow us on YouTube, next Monday, the Monday after this episode goes live, there will not be a video, because same thing, we just can't do it. Yeah. Just tired. I'm not sleeping well. You're not sleeping well.
Neither of us are.
Of course we're sad. Of course we are. Yeah. I was the one, I think this is how you and I kind of are. When one of us, I'm the one, because I think it's because I am an unsentimental bitch. I was the one that collected Saki's things and kind of put them out of the way, and was dealing with our Chewy account, and I was dealing with the prescription account.
And I'm actually grateful you did that, because the next morning, waking up and seeing his pills on the counter,
that would have been hard.
Yeah.
That would have been hard. I'm now, this is not sponsored, I'm a Chewy customer for fucking life, y'all. So we had just gotten a Chewy order, and it had just arrived like the day and a half before. There were a lot of things unused. I thought, well, that's a lot. We just, between the two vet visits over 12 hours, it was like $900. I was like, let me just see if I can get a little bit of my cash back. So I contacted Chewy and said, look, we have some unused items. They're totally unopened. Is it possible to return these things? And that's all I asked. I gave my order number information, and the customer service person who got my message emailed back with just the sweetest note of condolence. Like a heartfelt, like a real one, not like 2 lines, but like 2 paragraphs. Refunded the previous orders I had referenced in my requests, like in full, and then said, whatever you've got, donate it. And here are some donation forms. And then, and this was I did that Saturday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm a person that in grief has to stay busy. Thanks. Monday morning, we got a flower delivery from Chewy, from the customer service rep at Chewy, to offer condolences. It's like, I know this is a business model, like PR kind of thing. I get that, but also take my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was ridiculously impressed with how they handled it. From a business perspective, all I could think was, in order to do that as seamlessly as it was done, it's built into their systems. This is just part of their culture. This is what they do. And then we went on to our Patreon Discord and we were talking about it, and people were like, yeah, they've done that for me too. So, yeah, definitely a Chewy customer for life. We will eventually get cat and or dog. We have talked about getting a cat for ages.
Mm-hmm.
We had at one point thought maybe a second dog, maybe one day, but maybe not. We will at some point. We are not ready yet.
No.
Because there's a Saki-sized hole. Our family is incomplete because we like being a family that has a pet,
Mm-hmm.
but that pet is Saki right now. I was telling JB, I'm still watching like way too many cat and dog videos on YouTube. They're very comforting to me. They're very soothing. But every time I like look at a dog, even when I think, oh, that is the cutest dog ever, I'm like, yes, but it's not our chill old dude.
Yeah. But, I mean,
who was literally perfect for us.
Yeah. I mean, even like
So.
today, coming into doing the recording, because of his cough, we had taken to closing the door of the office.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we came in to record, and I just kind of looked at Kayla and was like, we don't have to close the door.
We don't close doors to any room with carpet anymore, and that is
Yeah.
the weirdest thing. Like it was both funny and a little
Mhm.
frustrating. We bought this house, we had new carpet put in the bedrooms and in the office, and then that's when he started having
health issues, yeah.
and we were like, why are you vomiting on the brand new carpet? So yeah, we got into that habit of just closing all those doors, and like the poor kids, we were always like, is your door closed? Is your door closed? That's brand new carpet. Yeah, and it's those little things that you go, oh, I don't have to, what? The kids handled it as well as kids can. We don't sugarcoat much with them. I try to be kind, of course, but it was what it was.
Yeah.
The 15-year-old did a really good job being there for his little brother when we rushed to the ER Friday night. And then the 11-year-old, after everything with Saki on Saturday, he's usually really closed off with how he feels about stuff, and this was the time he actually would talk about how he felt, which was nice.
And very thoughtful.
Oh, yeah.
About what he's been.
He's one of those deep thinker people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, his brother is too. His brother is just a deep thinker out loud.
Yeah,
it's a stream of consciousness thinking. Whereas the little one is, I'm kind of in the middle. I can deep think out loud, stream of consciousness, but I also go in my head a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The little one goes in his head a lot. And yeah, he was willing to actually talk to us, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's today being Wednesday is not as bad as Sunday was.
No.
Tomorrow will be better. That's the nature of it. Like I keep telling the kids, I'm like, we can't get over this. We just got to go through it. So yeah, it sucks. So then there will be no more Saki tales. Especially Friday night hangout had gotten to a point on the YouTube live stream where we're like, let me tell you what Saki did today, or whatever. And Eva was always really awesome with going, well, how's Saki doing? And yeah, so. So that's been our thing. I've been really quiet. A lot of people said really nice things on Instagram, and I saw them all. I just haven't had the energy to respond to anything. So yeah. And on YouTube people said some really nice things, and I saw them all, and I just was like, but I don't have the energy.
I had put a status update over the weekend on FET, and people have really been wonderful and reaching out there.
We have the best community.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you yourself are not a pet lover or pet owner, like, people are just, our community is filled with kind people, and that's what matters. It's why I was like, of course we're going to do a live stream podcast this week, even though what I really want to do is take a fucking nap. Mostly because I always want to take a fucking nap, so I can't use that as an excuse, but I have not slept well this week. I know what it is. I walk around, I'm like this every time there's grief. I've been like this in a lot of the bad moments in my family. I got this from my dad. When everybody else is really upset and crying, I go stoic. And so I deal with what needs to be done. I dealt with Zaki's stuff. I contacted the online prescription folks to see, can you just send me medication I can't use? What can we do about that? That was $130. I wasn't like telling them I just spent. I'm feeling really broke right now. Like, gonna get some of my money back. I'm handling like the admin part of life because it's actionable and I can focus on that, and I tend to work through crises and grief and stuff like that. But what that does, and I know this about myself, is that means I shove down how I'm feeling. And I think I'm processing it in the back of my mind, but I'm not fully like processing. And so then that manifests in a lot of different ways. One is crankiness. Sorry, I'll apologize now, Daddy, for all those cranky moments I've had this week, and that I will have in the future. But also, I just don't. That's one of the ways I just don't sleep. I also try and stay very, very busy, and I have stayed busy. I calculated that by the time about late October hits, I will have mailed 300 postcards to beg total strangers to please go vote, and if my plan goes right, I will have written 100 letters. If I could, I'd do more one time to postage. Postage is a thing. It costs money. So yeah, I've been trying to just keep myself busy mostly. But yeah, so that was our very depressing bonus section. Do we have anything good? I know there's good. There's always good in life, even when you can't see it. That's my internal optimist speaking. Am I thinking of any of that good? I can find good. It's been cool enough that my toes got cold and I'm wearing long pants right now. It's not that it's
Florida cool.
Florida cool. The humidity has fucking dropped. I don't know where it is. I don't want it back. It can stay gone. Go on a permanent vacation. Fucking humidity. I think it's like 80 degrees outside, 82 degrees outside. It's fucking beautiful.
Well, when we woke up this morning, it was like 65 degrees?
I don't know. You check the weather obsessively, not me.
It was like 65 degrees, and it was just, it was beautiful to step outside. I had to run to Harbor Freight, and I drove there and back with the window down the car, no AC on. It was like, wow, what is this fresh air?
I know. I actually walked outside and was like, this is lovely. This feels amazing. Yep. I know by the weekend the humidity is supposed to come back, or the temperature is supposed to come back. So this is a short-lived moment for right now, but I'm gonna fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I've been trying to keep busy in my own way. I've been out in the shop.
You have a tool coming.
I finally have a tool coming.
Your big-ass tool.
Yep. It'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard you talking to the delivery folks.
The trucker.
Oh, was it the trucker?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yep.
And yeah, I heard you going, okay, our street is a dead end. Most people back in. You're coming with a big truck. You're not turning around on this road.
Right.
You're either backing out or you're backing in. But a tool is coming.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. That's
how long ago did you order that tool?
July 4th.
Oh, God.
July 4th. But that's okay. I'm getting it. I'm still getting notifications from some of the stuff that I ordered in June that's still on back order.
I know. Well, and you're dealing with a new problem. I kept going, where are my paddles? Where are my paddles? Where are my paddles? He's like, I need a fucking new saw. That's where your fucking paddles are. So one, we got to deal with that new saw. Two, we had a business meeting. That's what we call them when we drink coffee and talk about BDSM. Yeah, that is accurate. And you're gonna maybe start making some new things.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why don't you just make these things? And it was actually a decent idea. And he went, you're right. And I was like, look at me actually contributing to the manufacturing of the product. Wow. So yeah. But if you're like, you're not talking about new paddles. That's right. Because there's a saw issue.
Yeah.
It's a serious saw issue.
Yeah. A lot of what I do is on a bandsaw. And a number of years ago when I bought the bandsaw I currently have, I was just doing pens and small spindle work. And it's a tabletop bandsaw. Very short throat and very short... Excuse me.
Baby got a bubble.
Pardon me. But it worked great for that. But now that I have kind of grown, I guess it was a little short-sighted of me to think that I would never need a big boy bandsaw. But things have kind of grown, and a couple things. This bandsaw has been somewhat problematic for me since day one.
Yeah.
It's taking a lot of nursing to keep it running, and I've outgrown it. It cannot do the things that I want it and need it to do. So, yeah, kind of looking into that now, too.
It's the year of tools for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but I'm excited about the one coming tomorrow. That'll be here tomorrow. Now, there is a chance I may need your help with that. Because if he gets here and sees he cannot get down the street, I'll have to go up to meet him.
Well, how will we get it back down here?
We'll get it from the truck into the SUV.
Is it small enough to fit in the back of your vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds like effort. Yeah. Sounds like effort. How badly do you want this tool?
Right.
How badly do you want it? So, yeah, we're just doing our thing, and yeah, that's us. I wish I had more, or something more exciting.
It is what it is. It's been what it's been, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you get through a day.
Right.
That's all you can do. That's where we're at. We are so thankful that y'all listened or watched or however you are here with us this week and every week. And I believe for podcast listeners, if you're listening to this out of my voice, you already have figured this out. I believe I fixed the podcast issues from a couple of weeks ago. And when I say I mean my tech person who stayed on top of the host people who had to fix a problem on their end that was fucking with me and us and the podcast. So that's good. And so we can, and we are, as far as we know, we are doing a Friday night hangout on YouTube this week. For anybody who's like especially podcast listeners, if you subscribe to our newsletter, I put that link in the newsletter every week, and that newsletter goes out on Friday. Yeah. So if you are not like somebody who's on YouTube, but you would like to join in and you don't want to have to try and like find us for that, if you subscribe to our newsletter, the link does go out in that newsletter, and the newsletter subscription link is in both the show notes for the podcast and the description box on YouTube. But yeah, and I think is this going to be the week that we have coffee themed alcohol drinks?
It's very well possible.
Okay.
It's very well possible.
There might be alcohol. So I'm not. Should I have a strong drink on YouTube live? Is that a good idea?
You'll shatter people's dreams.
Or I'll cry. May the odds be forever in your favor. I mean, one of those two things is going to happen. So, yeah, we intend to be hanging out
Yes,
Friday
we
night
do.
on YouTube.
Yes, we do.
So that's it. That's enough. That's more than enough. Thanks again for everybody for their questions. I do enjoy doing these kinds of things. They're fun. Y'all tend to think of things that maybe I haven't thought about in a long time, so then it's interesting conversation. So yeah, I guess we'll go then.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love you guys.
I gotta go pick up kids soon anyway.
I think I have to go to the bathroom, but I'm not really sure. Is it that I have to go to the bathroom? Or is it that I want another coffee? Or is it both?
Right?
It's probably both.
All of the above.
It's both. Anyway. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, watching, tuning in. Even when you lurk and you never say anything, I see your numbers, so I know you're there. Thank you. And we will see you again soon. Bye.